Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here today. My name is Linda Castillo, and I'm the founder of Modern Latina. Today, we have a very wonderful guest. I'm super excited about this conversation. It's all about the theme of love. We have Valentine's Day right around the corner, and I'm actually wearing red. And so is our special guest today, just in honor of the theme of love and all things about love. And today, we're here to talk with love and relationship coach, Emmy Hernandez. I'm super excited to have you on board here to talk in conversation. Let me just tell you a little bit about Emmy. Emmy is a #1 international bestselling co-author of Women Who Lead, executive level love and relationship coach, international speaker, and workshop facilitator. After starting her consulting career in San Francisco in tech world, providing services for companies like Lyft and Microsoft, she noticed a longing for women and couples who wanted to co-create epic, passionate, and fulfilling romantic partnerships, but did not know how to do it. This served as the catalyst for Emmy's private practice, which she has been successfully growing, and we're going to talk to her all about that today. She's also the author and co-host of a column, Ask Emmy Anything, dedicated to answering your questions about love, soulmates, and romantic myths. She graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in communications. She's certified in NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, Superconscious Recodes, and male versus female brain communications. She joins us from Nebraska, where she lives with her husband and soulmate, Matt. Please welcome Emmy. Thank you so much for joining, especially it's a little later over there, right?
Yes. Hi, Linda. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. And like you said, it is my favorite topic to talk about, and especially when it's right around the corner of Valentine's Day. Everybody just seems to have love on their mind. So I'm excited to be here. And yes, I am in the central time zone, so just a couple hours ahead, but I live most of my life in the Pacific time zone, so I still feel like I live there.
Well, thank you again for joining. I thought a great way to start this conversation was, how did you come about to be a love and relationship coach? So tell us about your journey from transitioning from tech to love.
Yes. So Linda, I grew up in a very traditional Mexican Catholic, super strict household. I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and I grew up in LA. When I went up to Berkeley, I knew that I wanted to travel the world and become quote unquote successful, whatever that meant. And I, for all intents and purposes, fulfilled that. I had a career in marketing, and I was hired by these very successful, huge corporations. Then I started consulting, and I was consulting for Lyft and Microsoft and AT&T and SanDisk. And I was traveling. In 2016, I traveled almost every other week to Mexico, Uruguay, Tunisia. I was the go-to tech person for the lean startup methodology, and the only one who was bilingual. So Berkeley would hire me to go teach this methodology in different parts of the world. I was working directly with Steve Blank and a lot of these huge tech people. And I was actually holding meetings with investors at Sequoia Capital and other places so that people in tech who had some great ideas could get some funding. So in 2016, I traveled all over the world. I actually gave my largest keynote speech in Guadalajara, Jalisco, to 10,000 people. And I was like, oh my God, like my family is from here, and we grew up dirt poor, and here I am now giving this speech. And I'm thinking, like, now that everyone knows me, like love's just gonna like flow easily, right? Like dates are gonna come out of the woodwork. Like, this is freaking amazing. And that was not the case. What I realized was there was a direct correlation between how I became successful in the business world and the hats I had to wear energetically. So that's the hat that I call Athena, and we're going to go into that a little bit more here. But the masculine energy, the mask that I had to put on, that made me extremely successful in the business world, to be able to compete with the men in that area, because I was a small minority of the women, was precisely what was accidentally repelling healthy masculine men, because I was showing up as a man with my resume in hand to dates. And that is not the right way of attracting healthy partners unless you want to be competing and arguing with someone all the time. So that was my journey. And once I started changing my energy when it came to the romantic side, I then started attracting very incredible, healthy men who wanted to be protectors and providers and supporters of my journey and dreams and building an empire together. And that shifted everything. So as soon as I did that and I learned the strategies of how the male and the female brain communicate completely differently, I was able to find the love of my life. He was born and raised in Iowa, and I was born and raised in LA. So he's an only child, and I'm the oldest of 7. So any matchmaker with a sane mind would have never, ever, ever put us together. But the soul knows what she wants. And we have now been married for almost 6 months. And we've been together for almost 5 years. So it has been, obviously I'm giving you a very short, condensed version of the story, but that is sort of where my journey started.
And obviously during that time, you're seeing that there's a need of other ladies and folks in the tech world and just in general everywhere that are kind of having similar situations as you did. And that kind of sparked your interest to start your own practice, which you have a unique name. Can we delve into, you named your business A Duality of Athena, and I'd love to learn a little bit more about the story behind that and how it relates to what you're doing.
Absolutely, yes. So Duality of Athena is very special to me. It actually came to me as what I call a download through one of my meditations. So I have been fascinated with Greek and Roman mythology since I was in elementary school. And I knew that I wanted to go to Greece someday. So for my 30th birthday, I went to Greece and I actually stood at the temple of Delphi, the temple of Athena, with my power pose. And I realized in that moment, I started going down the research of who was Athena and the perception of Athena. And Athena, the goddess Athena, is Ares' sister. So Ares was the god of war. Athena is the goddess of war and wisdom. And she is always depicted with a spear, a shield, and a little owl. The owl that we now know to be wise, right? So that's where that comes from. And she was not like her brother. Athena came in and helped civilizations grow. She would go into battle only to protect those that needed protection. Like she wasn't a jerk like Ares was. At least that's how she's depicted. Here's the thing. Athena, according to the legends, also died a virgin. She never took on a lover. Why? Because of this level of needing to be so independent that she never needed to take on a lover. And that is what I call now, and I share my ladies, that in the age of ultra independence, this need to always be so independent is actually a trauma response of not being able to trust ourselves and having events in our lives that prove to us that we shouldn't trust others. So we'll go into that a little bit later. But I realized that a part of me was the Athena, and I was super proud of having built her. But there was also a part of me that yearned for being the little spoon, that yearned for being cuddled and loved and adored, and being surprised with breakfast in bed, with being surprised with random tickets to go to Scotland or wherever, and to feel like I didn't have to make all the decisions. I was tired. I was tired of always having to make the decisions. And I wanted to be taken as a woman, sexually and sensually, consensually, by a partner. And I realized that being Athena was completely contradictory to the other part of me that wanted everything else. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, how do I get into that energy? And I realized that, to me, my depiction of that is the goddess Aphrodite, also known as Venus. So the goddess Aphrodite was the goddess of sensuality, and she would get men and other partners to do whatever it is that she wanted, not out of manipulation, but out of love, respect, and guidance in how she asked for things. And that's the energy that I have ladies step into in that level of vulnerability, but safe vulnerability, and only with those people who have earned it, not just vulnerability for the sake of it. So that's the balance that I have my ladies work through, because it's not about living in one or the other. It's about knowing how to shape shift into one or the other when she is needed.
Okay. I love that thought that you kind of shape shift when it's needed. And I think you could, and I've watched other interviews and you've kind of delved into this, and I think this is a good segue about the masculine and feminine energies and
Yes.
and in how they balance each other. Can you go a little bit more in detail about that? And you kind of did a little bit, but I just want to go a little bit deeper. So tell me how that would be, because sometimes I feel like even in my own, like I'm the planner, I'm doing a lot of the things that you said, and I'm just like, oh wait, I need to like step back and get some of that feminine energy back. Like, and so just talk to me about how they fit together, how they are together. And
Absolutely. So masculine and feminine energy is the exact depiction of what the yin and yang symbol means. So I'll give you an example of how this works in real life, right? Because it's like, oh, it's all nice in theory, but theory doesn't serve us. So I'll give you an example. Okay. We need to inhale and exhale throughout the day. So the reason I bring this up, and I'm going to give you an example of how this applies. The reason I bring this up is because too often I hear women think and men think or say that feminine is weak, feminine is fragile. And that is beyond incorrect. It is so wrong. The feminine is not weak. If you understand the elements of the planet, the moon, the element of the moon is feminine. The sun is masculine. We can't live without one or the other. We would literally fall into the abyss. Okay. The art of exhaling is a masculine energy. So now try something for me. Go ahead and just exhale for the next 24 hours.
Oh yeah, no, I just, yeah, you can't, I wouldn't be alive.
We would literally die. And that's how most people are living on the planet. They don't inhale. The art of inhaling is feminine energy. So you see how there's this natural give and take. Okay. So what I teach my clients, and they're coming to me for love and business, everything's tied together, by the way, is that when you learn the art of receiving, which is the feminine energy, and not pushing away, like most women, we push away compliments. We can't even accept a compliment without being like, oh, this whole thing, or I got it at Goodwill, or whatever it may be. Like, just say thank you for a compliment. Something so simple. When we deflect, we're saying we're not worthy. We are not worthy of the love or the abundance. We're not even worthy of breathing. Holy smokes, right? So often the things that we complain about, we are creating them on accident. So I teach my clients what really is feminine energy. And you think about it, what can be so weak about bringing a human to the planet? We create life, ladies. Yeah. We have the highest threshold of pain of any species on the planet. Yeah. How can we be perceived as weak? We are nothing but weak. But it's this idea, we have been socialized, the patriarchy has socialized us to believe that being a man is better. And that is not true. When you step into your feminine energy, when you live your life from your true soul's purpose, and you act from that space, you make way more money. You have better relationships with friends, better love relationships, and very important, a much better relationship with your body. You will be in alignment instead of out of ease, which is dis-ease. Most women burst their adrenal glands because they're going. So if you feel like, if you've been in the hospital for burnout, that is called adrenal fatigue. Our adrenal glands that sit on top of our kidneys are way smaller than men's adrenal glands. And here we are trying to run the same marathon they are. It's like, we're on another track, just as successful, and if not more, but we do not have to play the same game.
No, this is so fascinating to me, and I can talk so much about the energies, but you mentioned something in your response that I kind of want to go a little bit deeper in and unpack. you say it all goes hand in hand. And one of the things that I've heard in different iterations is, in order to find love, you have to love yourself. So I want to talk about how you said it affects everything, your body, your image, how you are professionally. So can you just tell me do a little bit more explanation about how that all works together when you're working on yourself, like on this journey, and then how everything else kind of falls into place?
Absolutely. So I have direct evidence that proves that when my clients start working on the inner core of love, and their resonance, because I work at a level of quantum physics. Okay, so I talk about woo-woo and spiritual stuff, but I've been studying quantum physics for the last 10 years. So I really know the art and science of resonance and electricity and how it goes through our body. So my clients who start working on this level of resonance, and I kind of go up, imagine it as your vertebrae being aligned. When that resonance vibrates, when I teach you how to vibrate from the inside out to magnetize all the things that you want towards you, and we're talking about love, what happens is money starts doubling or tripling for every single one of my clients. Are like, I mean, we're not even working on money. And I'm like, are we not? Everything is connected. Somehow tumors start disappearing. I've had clients who had to have hip surgery, and they postponed it because of the work that we were doing. And then months later, the doctor was like, we don't have to do hip surgery anymore because we were able to do all this level of work. So it affects absolutely everything. And I have the evidence to support that because I've seen it with my own eyes and I have lived it. So everything is connected. And really, to go back to your initial comment around this whole comment around self-love, I do want to really address that, because the way it's described in most of the modalities that I hear is actually very detrimental, because they say you have to love yourself fully before you can bring in soulmate love or healthy love. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's almost next to impossible. There are still things to this day where I'll look in the mirror and be like, I wish this wasn't like that. I wish. That's always going to be the case, lovelies. Always going to be the case. Here's the thing. You will still be able to attract soulmate love. Okay. So it is not about being perfect and loving yourself 100% all the time. What is important is the science behind gratitude. Gratitude of what is, the blessings that are already in your life. So it is about opening your eyes to what is already in your life and not focusing so much on what is missing. Okay. When we focus so much on what is missing, that is what hurts our resonance. That literally blocks the energy towards us getting exactly what we want. So I teach the art of self-love by teaching the frequency of gratitude and being in joy. So really, in order to bring in healthy love, healthy friends, healthy everything, a healthy body, it's about recognizing what you currently have and being so magnetically grateful for it, not fake gratitude. Okay. Fake gratitude does you nothing, which is actually why I don't do affirmations with my clients. So here's the best part though, that a lot of people are like, Emmy, I tried that already. I know, I get it. What's difficult is that because of our conditioning and our programming, the sheer willpower is not enough, which is why I'm certified in 2 other modalities, Neuro-Linguistic Programming and Superconscious Recodes. So what Recodes does is they help my clients go into what we call the end result. And I can actually command your unconscious and your conscious mind to do something completely different than they've done before. So you're literally stepping into a brand new identity. Here's the evidence. I had a client who was a vocal coach. Okay. So all day long, all she did was tune her instrument, her voice, and her actual instruments. She played the piano and a few other things. When we started working together, those instruments were tuned to a certain level. 9 months later, she told me, oh my God, Emmy. And I was like, what happened? She's like, I literally hear the tones completely different. She had to retune every single one of her instruments to a new frequency because her hearing and her vocal range were completely different from 9 months prior because of the change, physical change that her body experienced.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Oh my goodness. And so much to so much to understand, with everything and how it affects everything within you. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought the voice change, the frequency, how everything is avoiding hip surgery. I mean, it's amazing, wonderful stories. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to take a little bit, go into relationships. We've been talking a lot about finding soulmates. I want to talk about a little bit of why having a healthy relationship is important to us. And, as soulmates, we're looking for our soulmates, but why is that essential part of who we are as beings, having a healthy relationship?
Yeah. So, this one's a little bit of a tricky one because I'm going to tell right now, not everyone yearns for that level of love that I yearned for. Okay. So it's not necessarily the same for everyone. For me, I knew that if I died and didn't experience this epic, life transforming, heart opening, feeling cherished every day level of love, then my life wouldn't have been worth it. That's the level of intensity that I yearned for and sought for this level of love. Not everyone's soul seeks that, and that's okay.
Right? Yeah, that is okay.
It's zero judgment. I had to come to that conclusion and be like, oh wow, am I the weirdo? Yeah, I am. I'm actually a small percentage of the population that yearned for this level of love. However, for the rest of the population that yearns for that level of love, I'm your gal, right? Because I'm the only one that understands it. And there's zero judgment for why you keep looking for it. Because I'm like, I get it. That was me. Okay. So again, not everyone wants this in their lifetime, and they do focus on the level of success of money elsewhere. For me, it's like money and love go hand in hand. So as I build my empire with my husband, now it's our empire, right? And I get to break generational poverty and generational curses so that my parents have all the wealth that they need, and my kids and their kids and their kids and my entire family. So it's like we're breaking generational curses. So it was my choice to say, I either have this level of love or nothing at all. You have to have enough courage to not settle for crumbs or mediocrity. And most people don't have the guts to be that courageous. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Most people settle for crumbs because they think that's all they're going to get. And until you're willing to basically die on the sword, as they say it's either this or nothing, you're going to get somewhere in between of the crumbs. So what we have seen, and the studies show this with different universities, is that when you have a healthy romantic relationship in your life, your health is better. Your chances of anxiety and depression are much, much, much lower. You make more money, you make better friends, you have better relationships in general because you feel safe in going after your dreams. Okay, so being in a healthy relationship with a partner makes life so much more joyous. You notice that I'm not saying that this person completes me. No one can complete you. You're not a half of anything. Okay, we say in Spanish, es mi media naranja, my half orange. That's BS. You're not a half of anything. Okay, you are a whole person. And no one, this is very important, no one can make you happy.
Yeah.
Only you yourself can make you happy. Your partner can only enhance and magnify your own happiness. That's a very important key distinction that I see a lot of incorrect information being shared on Instagram and Facebook. And I just I have to sigh, right? Because I used to believe that 10 years ago. It's like, I'm looking for my other half. And it's like, you're not a half of anything. And if you're looking for another half, then you're always going to be still searching and yearning for something else.
Yeah. I think this is a great time to talk about some of your key takeaways as single, ladies out there are looking to find their soulmate. So what kind of advice would you give them? And then also kind of thinking about it. You and I were chatting before the call started, and dating must be so hard right now. I mean, I've been married for a long time, but I was just thinking, like, with the pandemic and like online dating, it's changed so much since when I found my husband, 20 plus years ago. But I'd love to get your take on what kind of advice you would give to Latinas out there who are wanting to find their soulmate.
Yeah, so completely different dating than it was 20 years ago, right, Linda? Mm-hmm. And here's the best part. I met my husband on a dating app. So we met on Bumble. And this is not an advertisement for Bumble, although it is one of the applications that I do suggest for most of my clients. So there are a lot of things that I can tell you. So when it comes to pandemic or no pandemic, I actually teach my ladies the same dating strategies that I taught them before the pandemic came along, or the same strategies that they have now. And now as the world starts to open up again, now they can actually see some more people in person. But here's the key difference is the number one thing that I teach my ladies is, first, how to step into that inner radiance. And second, how to notice some red flags. Okay, so some advice is learn how to change your frequency. You're gonna be like, well, how do I do that, Emmy? I got you covered. There's a free meditation on my website. Go download it. It's free. Enjoy. Okay. Listen to it as often as possible. It'll change your frequency to certain extents. Obviously, there's some more conditioning and programming. If you want to learn more about that, we can chat. But that's a free meditation on my website. Okay. So that's number one. Number two of all this is actually learning how the male and the female brain are completely different. And there is a lot of training around that I can share with the ladies. But number one is teaching you some of the red flags, some of the things that we've been taught that are cool and sexy, and I just watched, I don't know if you've watched this, Linda, it's called The Tinder Swindler.
No, I haven't.
It just came out. It's like number 4 or 5 right now, as of today, on Netflix. And like, I keep watching it over and over again, because I'm going to do a series on this of like, ladies, stop, right? So there's this guy on Tinder that like swindles millions of dollars from women.
Oh my gosh.
And he comes across as like this millionaire, multimillionaire. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, right now, a lot of ladies will tell me like, oh yeah, well, I noticed a red flag when X, Y, and Z. By the time they noticed the red flag, I saw it like message 1 versus they saw it message 20 or after several dates. Okay. I'll give you an example. If you're ever chatting with a guy and he doesn't say hello, your name with your name somewhere in there, he's saying he has a bot or copy pasting to several other women. Don't bother responding, block. Okay. There's another thing. When you're looking at dating profiles and pictures, he has to be smiling in at least one, not fake smile. Okay. Not trying to be sexy, like a proper, can you see his teeth smile? You will feel his soul through that. It is mind boggling to me, Linda. There are probably like 98% of the male profiles out there where they have 0 smiles, and the women's are like, oh, well, he looks sexy. Stop swiping on those guys. Stop it. Okay. Yeah. Stop posting sexy pictures of yourself. Are you looking for a hookup, or are you looking for soulmate husband material? Okay. Your husband material is going to be looking to see, does she respect herself? Okay. So sexy pictures and duck lips out the window. Don't post pictures with friends. This is just about you. Don't post old pictures either. You need something that's recent, nice, clean, and crisp. There's a lot of different things that I can teach you about how to build out your profile. Also very important, in your profile, you want to be playful. Have fun with your profile. This is not a LinkedIn resume. It is not a resume. Okay. So don't go in there being so serious. And also don't go in there writing all your non-negotiables, like do not swipe if X, Y, and Z. Like you just process at BITCH. Okay. So like, again, we are not writing a job description. You want to show your feminine, playful side Why? Because when you're playful and you're vulnerable, the chances of you attracting a healthy masculine man that wants to protect and provide and respect those boundaries are much, much, much higher. Because when you come across a super Athena, guess what's going to happen? You are going to meet those buttholes. Okay. Why? Because they're going to want to compete with you to prove that they can break you.
Right. Wow.
Okay. Or you'll meet the opposite. You'll meet the super nice guy that you don't want to have sex with because he's too nice and too feminine. You're like, God, I wish I liked him. You don't like him because he doesn't have a backbone. You need him to grow a pair of balls. Okay. It's not your job to teach him that. Let him learn that on his own. Here's the thing. You cannot bring in healthy masculine men energy, or even female, by the way, until you learn to step into your vulnerable, playful self when you're in so much joy, regardless of how the date is going. Okay. If a date, also very important, ladies, when you have decided to move past the app and you're going to meet up for a first date, don't do dinner. Dinner is way too much commitment for both parties. Do something simple like a cupcake, boba, hot chocolate, whatever it is that's minimal, so that you'll know within the first 5-10 minutes if it's going to continue or not. And then you can excuse yourself. If you wanted to move on, you can always move on to dinner or drinks after that. But it's too much of a commitment. By the way, this way you don't feel guilty when he pays. If he's paying for a boba or a whatever, allow the gentleman to pay for you and don't go Dutch. So don't try to insist like, oh, I got us because you got there first and you're a badass independent woman. He knows that already. But if you need to prove it, he doesn't want to hang out with you because he wants to be the man in the relationship.
Yeah. Wow, this is great advice. And I'm sure a lot of us are, who are out there like scratching their head, like, I've seen this, now they can cut it. Like you said, just cut it when you see something, don't wait till the 20th message if you have these signs showing up on the first or second one. So I don't want to leave out the ladies that are in relationships like myself, been in a marriage for, a long time. And, I think the pandemic also affected us. I mean, you saw the divorce rates we're going up, and just, how can we make sure that we are spending that time nurturing our relationship and when everything else we have a lot more that's happening in our lives, like kids schedules, it's just so different. I can even say my marriage before kids and after kids was different. So, but in general, whether you have kids or not, how can you make sure that you're in a loving, fulfilling relationship? Any advice for those who are in partnerships right now?
Yes. And you're right, Linda, the rates of divorce went through the roof during the pandemic. And I think it's because people kind of got fed up, kind of like the Great Resignation in the corporate as well, where they were just kind of numbing and kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
And now that people were stuck with each other, they realized, I can't do this. And I'm proud of them, right? Like your soul was like, no. So for those that needed to get out, like fantastic. But for those who are trying to figure out like how to like ride this bumpy road. And by the way, I do coach couples and clients in parenting as well. Because one of the things that happens is when the kids come along, the female brain, by the way, and it's scientifically proven that there's a part of our brain that now automatically gets lit up that does not happen in the father. Okay. Or for the primary caregiver, because this happens in same-sex couples as well, even if they didn't have the child. Whoever is a primary caregiver, part of our brain lights up. I forget which part it is that now is like, ooh, everything is about the baby. Okay. So this starts absolutely affecting the relationship, but because we're not taught that that's happening, there's no way for us to separate it. Okay. So I actually go in and help the couples realize like, what is your time? Okay. Versus kid time. So something as simple as I had one couple who had the same nickname for his wife and for his daughter. He called them both princess. I said, Yeah. Okay. The nickname for your wife has to be so special and unique that is not related in anywhere else for your kids. Couples that call each other mommy and daddy so that the kids don't get confused, very dangerous, very bad, because your brain is now saying mommy, daddy for your partner. Ew. Ew, talk about Oedipus complex. Okay. So you have to be careful to make sure the things that you're saying to your partner, names in particular, because your brain has an anchor for everything, is completely separate than what your kids are hearing. Okay. Another thing that happens is that mom now turns into mom of her husband as well. Dun, dun, dun. So I teach couples how to separate that. So mamas out there, go ahead and keep nurturing your man, but don't mother him. And no, you don't have 3 children. You just have 2. I don't care if the other one's your husband. Don't call him that. Okay. The second you call your husband your adult child, it is the most hurtful, most emasculating thing that can happen. And that diminishes his passion for you and in the relationship. And then you wonder why he stops doing the things that he did when you guys were first dating. It goes, we ladies actually hold the power to draw our men into us. We are the receivers. We can pull them in. We have magnificent power. Okay. So again, this is not all putting the blame on the ladies. It's however, what's the saying that Tony says, however thin you slice it, there's always 2 sides. Okay. This is why I help the men and the ladies. But for the most part, when I help couples and they're having some problems in the bedroom, when there's ED, most of the time that's been happening, and they think it's physical, but it's not. It's actually emotional lack of stimulation around not feeling like a hero anymore. He feels like a child. And here's the thing, ladies, I grew up like a very good Latina, emasculating my brothers and emasculating my dad. And I had to actually heal that relationship with my brothers and my dad before I could bring in healthy love. I'll give you an example of mothering versus nurturing. You're going out and you know it's chilly. Go ahead and grab the coats for your kids, especially if they're little. Your man, he's not your responsibility. Don't mention it. Don't say anything. Don't grab anything. Don't say, hey, honey, grab a jacket. You can ask. This is what I do with my husband. Honey, do you think I need a jacket? Is it cold out? And he'll say, yay, nay. And I have to hold back in my head. I'm gonna be like, he's gonna be cold. He's gonna be cold. I say it all in my head and let it go. He's a grown ass person. He can take care of himself. Okay. This is an example of how we will, and then you'll hear the man bark back, okay, mom. And then we get upset and offended. Thing is, if you're hearing that or have ever heard that once in your relationship, pay close attention, because he's telling you back off. He doesn't want to associate you with his mother who wants to have sex with their mom. Okay. So the nurturing is, if you're a man sick and you want to bring him soup, that's all nice and dandy. You can make him dinner, something special, because he likes to get him his special chocolates. He'll go out of his way to do things for you just to see you smile. Oh my God, they're magnificent. When you're in a healthy relationship, he will go out of his way just to make you smile, just to please you. Okay. Another thing, ladies. Oh, this one's one of my favorites. When your man asks you where you want to go eat, don't say anywhere, whatever you want. Don't do that. Don't torture your partner. Here's the truth, ladies. We have been conditioned to do that so that we think we are liked. It's less trouble. It's not. We're more trouble because now he has to guess. And now he takes us to a place where we're like, oh, I had this last week with Susie. I don't want this. Oh, I'm not in the mood for that. Stop doing that. Your man's not psychic. Okay. Tell him what you're in the mood for. Maybe give him 1 or 2 options or 3. Okay. And then from there, he can pick, but don't torture. The same thing with going on the first dates, by the way. You don't want to just be whatever, because then he'll pick the wrong thing and not please you. So men actually do truly get tortured. And you'll see a lot of TikToks about this and men laughing about it. It's actually not a laughing matter. It's quite torturous for them and for us when we don't get what we want because we expected him to know already. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I think just hearing you talk about some of the examples, I'm just thinking how I'm going to raise my level of awareness, because sometimes I do have the tendency to be like, oh, here's your coat, because I'm already getting all the kids' coats, so I just grab everyone's. But it's interesting, I have to kind of, now I'm going to take a step back and look at how I do things because it's kind of subconscious, like some of the things that we might do. And if you've been with someone for so long, it's definitely probably already, built in, and you're just on kind of like autopilot. So really great information. So I love how candid you are with everything you've shared with us today. And I'm just wondering if you could just share a little bit about because some people might be like, well, what's a love relationship coach? Can you tell me a little bit? You mentioned, I didn't realize you do the kids. So that's great that you talked a little bit about that. But can you tell us what would someone signing up to have you as their relationship and love coach, like what does that entail?
Yes.
And even for couples, you have different services. So tell me a little bit about each of them.
For sure. I have different packages. So very, very, very good question. So I will tell you right now, I am not a family and relationship counselor. Okay. So I do not report to a state or federal board. You wouldn't want me to. Okay. The things that I know about my clients stay secret and they stay in my vault, unless the only time I report is when someone's life is in danger. And I'm actually in the middle of a court case, like, that I speak of, that's going to be going to trial in the next few months, specifically on this matter. Okay. So, so I'm not a counselor and I'm not a therapist. So as a coach, my job is to intervene. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to get all up in your business and call you out on your shit. Okay. As your coach, what happens is a lot of the sessions, I'm going to get a little bit aggressive, a little in your face about certain things so that you can fight back and defend yourself a little bit. But what you'll realize is that you're arguing for your limitations. You're arguing for your pattern. And I'm going to show you that. And you're going to see, I'm going to put the mirror up and you'll be like, oh, that's nasty. That's gross. Be like, no, that's what the world sees. I'm like, oh. Right. So it's my job to break through your unconscious and conscious patterns so that we can heal the stuff that has been passed down. Just like DNA is passed down, so is trauma from generations ago. So I go in and do Recode so that we can remove the resistance to what you actually want, right? And build the success that you actually want. So this is very important. There are a lot of people that are ready for that and a lot of people that aren't. So if you want someone that's just going to tell you what you want to hear and keep doing the same thing over and over again, don't come to me. I'm not your person. If you want to, for the first time in your life, actually completely shift and have massive breakthroughs so that you do not recognize the person you are 6 months from now, I'm your gal. Okay. Every single one of my clients goes, what did you do to me, Emmy? Oh my God. Everything is just completely different. And this includes, by the way, couples who have been married for over 2 decades. They're like, we wish we met you 20 years ago. And be like, well, I wasn't much used to you then because I'm only 35, but we're here now. So let's address it now. So this is why I bring this up, because it is a very intense, also very loving and non-judgmental, right? So I'm going to love on you like you've never been loved on. And I'm going to have you reframe some things that have happened in your past. I was sexually abused and molested at 4 years old. I've never met a client that wasn't. Unfortunately, that's the case. But I can show you how that doesn't need to define you. And the anger doesn't need to define you either. Okay. So we go into everything, my darling, everything in your life, whatever it is that you're willing to share. And here's the best part, that because I tap into what we call the field, a lot of the stuff you won't even know is there, but I can see it and feel it, and we can remove it on your behalf. Okay. So our work is extremely intense. I'm all up in your business. I do have several programs. So one is an introductory program where you go in at your own pace. There's I'm the founder of the Soulmate signature system. So you can watch the videos at your own pace. And you also come to group calls and you do Q&As with me, and you have my attention there in a group. That one does not have any one-on-one time with me. I do have an upgrade from there, which is for my VIP clients. And that program is for a whole year where you have access to me as your life coach. So it includes love, money, business, everything, including situations with mom, siblings, dad, whatever comes up, I do that. And that program is 5 figures and above. I only work with executive level women who are extremely successful and have said, that's it. I'm sick and tired of trying to figure out love on my own. I need a formula. I need a blueprint. I got your blueprint. Okay. And then the coaching, the couples, those are 3 months at a time. Okay. So again, 5-figure investment, super intense, 12 sessions and individual sessions, because one of the things that happens with therapists, and by the way, every single couple that comes to me have all gone to therapy and counselors and have failed miserably. The men hate the therapists and the counselors. So when they find out about me, they're like, oh my God, here we go again. Then they show up and it turns out they are my #1 referral source. So most of the men actually refer other couples to me because of how loved and respected they feel, because I actually understand the male brain. Most therapists are not trained in how the male brain works. So they don't know how to speak their language. And that's why the men keep running away, because it ends up being 2 women now nagging on the guy. And the guy's like, I'm on my own here. So he wants to run away. So I am very proud to say that my #1 referral source are the men. The women love it as well, but we're used to sharing, right? But for a man to share that he's in relationship coaching and then to share with someone else and tell them to come over, that I'm going to tell you right now is a rarity of the rarities. That is a very small percentage to ever happen. So, but the reason that happens is because I understand their brain so well, and there's a massive level of respect and zero judgment for both parties. And there's accountability for both parties. So both sides get called out on their shit on the same session, and they both are meant to see each other. And then they realize, oh. And I also teach the foundations of the male versus female experience that's got nothing to do with me versus him. So they realize, oh, this is like all women experience this? Yeah. Oh, like all men experience this? No. Yeah. So he's not doing this on purpose to piss me off. So she's not doing this on purpose to piss me off. It changes the dynamic because I come at it from a very scientific perspective, and they see the results immediately. They don't have to wait for a year or 2. And how are you feeling? Guys hate talking about their feelings. So I don't ask them about their feelings. Yeah. Those are useless. We go into what actually helps.
Yeah. And I think I just, one of the things I heard in one of your, I did a little research and watched a few interviews, and I think there was something you mentioned that if you're going into the couple, sometimes it's not always about, like, sometimes you might at the end realize you might be better separated. So it's the goals might be different. You're going in, but you don't know how the end is going to be. I don't know how to say that nicely, but so you yes. So just to make, I don't know how to say that, but it's so fascinating, the fact that so about the different ways we think and experiences. So that's something that you should write a book like on that. And that just sounds, it's like a fascinating topic all around to get into that. So let me tell you, I had a few folks ping me, and I was trying to glance to see if we had any comments come in or questions on the Facebook Live, but I just want to let people know that I am recording this. I will be posting it afterwards. It'll be on Facebook Live, but I'm also going to be sharing it on the website. But for the folks that do want to get a hold of you, Emmy, can you just share with them the best way to reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Love Coach Emmy, or my website at emmyhernandez.com. So EMMY Hernandez.com. And you can also feel free to ping me, find me on Facebook. My team's always working for me. So my assistants are the ones that look at all the messages and stuff. So if you're interested in learning more, there's a lot of information on my website. There's a free book that you can download, free meditation. And I'm also actually at the moment offering a $25,000 scholarship for any women who are single. So this one specifically is for the single women. So if you're in a relationship, we have to have a different conversation. But if you're interested in applying, I can send you the link for that. And we're going to be starting here in a few weeks. And I am still taking applications. It includes seven virtual dates with me online, where you go through intense training. And then from there, you'll have the opportunity of saying, like, I want further training with Emmy. And then you can decide what it is that you want to do from there.
Oh my gosh. Well, Emmy, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate everything that you've shared with us. I'm going to post all those links below. And again, thank you. Enjoy Valentine's Day with your husband? I think, let's see, this would be your first Valentine's Day as a married couple, right?
It is our first Valentine's Day. Yeah, we're taking the day off. So because it's a Monday. So we're going to spend the whole weekend together and just having fun, having a blast.
Well, enjoy. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate you.
Bye-bye.